All right, I'd like to cover three ideas about USPSA that are things we hear, but I think seeing them graphically is helpful. The first is the idea of sooner, not faster, and I think that's attributed to Rob Latham. And I like to think of that as a time activity curve. So if we draw a graph and we've got our activities and our time, so as time's moving along, the more we do at the beginning, the more activities we do at the beginning, and those taper off as time goes on, the earlier we'll be able to do the end state, whether it's reloading, whether it's moving, whether it's our draw. If we front load a lot of those activities, we're getting the entire objective done sooner rather than thinking of it being done faster. So faster, we often think of just the time component, but if we want to think of sooner, we need to think of everything that we're doing, and if we do those things sooner, we're going to be better off. The second is the absolute value of a target, and we all know that an A is worth 5 points, but let's think about the absolute value of a target. So if we draw a number line, and there's 0. We know that most targets are worth 2A, and so that gives us a positive 10 points. But I think what we often forget is that a target is also worth 2 misses, or negative 20 points, which gives us an absolute value of the target for 30. And I think that's a way about the targets that we don't often think about, is that their true value is really 30 points. And that goes to show just how important the positive side of the values is. Finally, I get a lot of questions about what should I practice? Hey, how can I go faster? And I've been thinking about this myself recently, and I think I can do some math for you to help you see it maybe in a different way. So let's think of just a generic USPSA stage. And we've got a draw, we've got shooting positions, denoted here as SP, we've got splits, SPL, and we've got transitions. So we do probably one draw in a stage. Let's say we'll have 3 shooting positions, we'll have 14 splits on targets, and we'll have 13 transitions. If you take your draw from 1.4 to say 1.1, you gain 1/3 of a second. If you can move from place to place in 5 seconds and you knock that down to 4.5, you gain 1/2 a second. Splits, if you go from a 0.2 to a 0.16, which I think is pretty quick, you gain 4/100ths. If you can take a 0.4 transition and turn it into a 0.3, you gain 1/10 of a second. And to put that into perspective through these numbers, an eye blink is about 1/10 of a second. So we're really just talking about, really small fractions of time. But if you look at the number you perform these items, you only do one draw or load or presentation. And so you're only going to gain 1/3 of a second improving your draw. If your movement or hair shooting positions, if you can go just 1/2 a second faster or arrive there 1/2 a second earlier, you're going to gain 1.5 seconds. If you just turn up your splits and just rail away your shooting, you only gain, do the math, that's just about 1/2 a second. And if you can get the gun place to place a lot faster, and that by saying a lot faster, 1/10 of a second, we're going to gain 1.3 seconds of time on the stage. So I think one can see that if you look at the cumulative effect each of these have on your stage, and we've often, if you look at the whole numbers, we're looking at, over 3 seconds here. How often have you said, oh man, so-and-so was 3 seconds faster than me a stage? Well, it's pretty close to these numbers. And Your draw is only going to get you a third. Shooting faster splits all over is only going to get you a half a second. But going from place to place and moving the gun place to place, things that aren't really pulling the trigger, gain you the greatest amount of time. So once you have general marksmanship skills, once you are safe and you have the basic fundamentals, and you're really starting to think about improving, and you realize you kind of need to improve everywhere, I think you would see a greater benefit practicing getting from place to place and moving the gun from place to place versus things that are pulling the trigger. You can't shoot your way into a significantly faster stage time, but you can definitely move yourself and your gun into a significantly faster stage time. So again, I know these are all concepts you've heard before, but hopefully seeing them on paper helps you understand them a little bit better, and hopefully we can all get better.